everyone, I'm Lisa and welcome to my stamp studio. I've got two great projects for you today called Stampin' Duos. The first one is this adorable Halloween flip card just in time for the holiday. And the second is this really cute Halloween treat favor. Come on over to the craft table. I'm going to show you how to make them. We're going to start with this adorable flip card. It begins with the Stampin' Up! Thinlits called the Circle card, and these are going to work in the Big Shot. You're going to see inside the packet you get lots of small accessories to go with it, which makes it lots of fun and really versatile. You're going to need your Big Shot, my magnetic platform, anytime I use a framelit or a thinlit. This is a half a sheet of cardstock, which is 8.5 by 5.5, and I'm just lining it up on the thinlit, and I'm putting it on the platform. I have one clear mat on the bottom, and I'm going to place another one right on the top. And I'm going to run this through my Big Shot. Now you're going to notice when you do this, it's going to make a lot of awful sounds, and that's normal, so don't think that you're breaking it. It's just cutting as you go. Just pushing this to the back. Now you can see when it came out of the thinlit that the circle is actually at the top, but for this Frankie card, I'm going to flip it so that it goes this way. So this is actually going to go in on the first crease, and then this is going to come out on the second crease. So you can see it better if I do this. And then it was just a matter of decorating it. And we used lots of punches, but let me show you how easy it is. You're going to need the 2.5-inch circle punch, and you're going to punch out a total of 3 of these. You're also going to need the 1-inch circle punch, and you're going to need 3 of the black ones. They're going to represent the eyeballs. And then you need 1 3/4 inch out of the old olive cardstock, which is the same color I use as the base of the card. And that's really about it, besides a stripe of paper to make his hair. To do his hair, I used a piece of black cardstock, 1.5 inches by 6.5 inches. Now I've done this a couple different ways, and this one in the video I'm going to even do different than I've done this, and I'll give you an option on which way you can adhere it to make it easier for yourself. I used my crumb cake ink pad and a piece of sponge, just to sponge the edges of the circle, just to kind of age it. I just kind of thought maybe it was a little bit too white. Now if you don't like that, you don't have to do that. And I'm just dipping it in my pad and going all the way around my paper. Okay, those are finished. So now I'm going to do the same thing to the small 3/4 inch circle, which is going to represent his nose. You'll need your snail adhesive. I'm going to put a little adhesive on the back. And I'm going to position one of those right around the bottom. You're also going to need your white gel pen. And here is a great tip about your gel pen. You're going to want to practice with it on some scratch paper to make sure that it's flowing well before you start to use it. Sometimes I've had it skip on me and it's quite frustrating. So on the first one, I'm going to draw a line and just put a dot. And I'm going to do the second on this one. And on this one, I'm going to put the line and the dot on this side. So now I've got my 3 eyeballs. Next comes the hair. And this is a fun part because there's really absolutely no rules to creating this. What you're going to do is take your paper snips and you're just going to start by making triangles. You can make some very deep and you can make some very narrow, just to create those little points on his hair. So this is what I ended up with, and I know it's going to be longer than I need. You can measure these panels if you'd like, but I'll be honest with you, they're not even numbers, and I found that quite frustrating. But what you can do is you can adhere it down and then snip it. So that's what I'm going to try on this one. The first one that I made, I actually attached the whole thing and creased along the way, and I did get a little bit of a stress mark here in the paper, but I don't think who I sent it to is going to notice. So let's try it this way this time. So we're going to put a little adhesive here. Okay. Make sure I got this going the right way. Okay. We are going to stick down my hair here. Okay. Now I need to cut it here. So I'm going to open it from the back and cut it. This way you can ensure a nice straight line. Now also on the inside, we're going to need another piece, right? So we just have to pick up where we left off. Here on the inside, we're going to pick up where we left off, and we're going to put a little bit more adhesive. And I'm going to tape that here. Okay, same thing. This time we're just going to fold backwards so that we can see where we left off and trim. And we're going to do the last panel here the exact same way. Now you're going to see there's a small break in the paper where you're going to fold it, but I don't think that really matters. So it's a matter of whether you want to adhere it and fold it, or cut it as you go. Now the rest is the fun part. So we're just going to stick on the eyeballs. I just realized I made a mistake. I'm not even going to edit it out so that you know I'm totally human. This eyeball on the inside needs to be smaller. So this is actually the 2-inch circle punch, and I'm going to punch that from white cardstock. You're going to tuck this eye up underneath here like so. So I'm going to put a little adhesive on that and stick that there. So don't do what I did and make that mistake and have it in the wrong area. Okay, this eye is going to go on the inside. You see them coming together? And now you need another eye here on the outside. So that's going to be this one. Next, we have his nose. You're going to need a dimensional for that because you want it to stand up and look like it's 3D. So I'm going to stick his nose right about here. And then I'm going to use the basic black marker to do his smile. So there's a thin tip and a brush tip. And since I'm going to be writing, I'm going to use the thin tip. And I'm actually going to make sure that his little crooked smile goes all the way across that inset of this card. Now you can go ahead and put little hatch marks like the stitch marks if you'd like, or you can give him more of a curvy smile. It's up to you. But that is it for this card. So here's my original one, and then here's the one we've just made. Now, let's get to the duo for this project. And it's really pretty much the same thing, it's just that the punches are smaller. You're going to start with our little 2-inch treat boxes. I absolutely love these mini boxes. They're already die cut for you, and they're a heavyweight cardboard. Now, let's talk about how to put the bottom together. You're going to put the notch side down in first, and then the 2 tabs, and then you're going to pop this through so that you get an interlocking bottom to your box. When I created my box, I put the notch for his head to the back. Now, you're going to see how I actually used a small punch to create a little opening there so it's easy for you to lift without having to ruin the cardstock that you attached. These are 4 2-inch by 2-inch old olive squares, same color as what we did with the card. And we're going to cut 1 from our paper trimmer from black as well. On my paper trimmer, which I love because it's cleanly defined, 2-inch and by 2-inch. And this is going to act as the top of the box. And the reason I did that is because, of course, his hair is black, so you wanted to make sure that it was black as well on the top. Let's talk about the punch pieces for his face. You're going to need 2 whites, and this is from the 3/4 inch circle punch, same punch that we used for the nose on the card. You're also going to need 2 from Old Olive, same size, 3/4 inch. Those are going to be the eyelids and the nose. And then last, you're going to need 2 from the 1/2 inch circle punch for the black, which is actually going to be the eyeballs in this case. So I'm going to start, I'm going to put this on here so you guys can see it. Again, with my gel pen, I'm going to check it to make sure it's flowing well. And I'm going to do my little lines and my dots, and my lines and my dot. And I'm going to set those aside. Okay, so here we've got our box. So we know we've got to create a notch in this portion here. So I'm going to use the 1/2 inch circle punch, and I'm going to show you a little trick. When you attach this, you are actually going to turn it upside down, and you are going to notch it this way. I would attach it first. I used snail on the box, and it really is holding up pretty well, but with all 3D projects, you really should use sticky strip or fast fuse. But just for the sake of demonstration and time, I'm going to use some snail. Now, make sure you go around the whole square. I want to make sure it sticks. There's nothing worse than a 3D project that falls apart. So I'm attaching this to the back, and I'm going to bring this little punch in here, and I'm going to punch out a small area there for that notch. We're going to do the exact same thing all the way around with the other green panels. Here we are now to the top of the box, and this is where his hair is going to be, black. Our box is all made. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the hairline for this box. I'm going to recommend that you take a piece of basic black cardstock that's about 1 inch by 8.5 inch to make his hair. And in the exact same form that we did for the card, you're going to make small triangles all the way around to create his hairline. I'm going to put snail adhesive on the back. Starting here, we're going to start our hairline near the top. Again, just like the card, but this time I'm not going to cut it. I find that the box is sturdy enough for me to be able to go all the way around. You get to the corners, I'm going to recommend that you pinch. And I'm cutting off the excess. Okay, so again, we've got this notch we've got to contend with. So I'm just going to put this back in. You can see how I've got that little guide right there. You don't want to punch 2 layers of cardstock with your punches. It's not meant to go through that thick of paper. We've got our 2 eyeballs. And I kind of stuck them up underneath here just a hair. Now, these little black circles are going to be his eyeballs. Now, you can use a glue dot. On the original one, I actually cut a small piece of dimensional to put on the back because I liked the 3D look. But I'm just going to save some time and stick these on here. One of those 3/4 inch circles, we're going to cut that in half. And these are going to be his eyelids. Now, these I did use dimensionals for. And I like to keep a strip handy in my room that are already cut in half because they come in super duper handy when you're doing small pieces. We've got one here. Now you're going to want to make sure you line up the circles. And you're going to put another one here. And this last one, you're going to cut this one in half as well. Now I didn't sponge any of these, but you certainly could. And this is going to be his nose. This will go here. Now, I would recommend that you do his face last so that you have ample room. And I'm going to do him kind of wiggly and give him little smile lines just to connect him up there. But isn't he cute? One last thing I need to show you is about these candy dot bases that I used as bolts for his neck. These hold our candy dots inside of them. So there's like a little embedded area that the self-stick candy dot will fit right into. But I like these because they're really nice and thick and they're heavy. And you get 25 of them for a really great value. Now you're probably thinking, how the heck are you going to do that, Lisa? I hijacked this little piece of foam from a packaging material. And I've held on to it. It's come in kind of handy. So I'm actually putting that on the inside of my box just because I don't want to pierce through the whole thing. And I'm using my paper piercing tool, and I'm going to make a hole where I'm going to want that bolt. And I'm going to be very careful just to go through the paper and not poke all the way through the whole thing. So then my little bolt will go in here, like so. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to put our box together again. Remember, our notch is to the back. And there you go. Here's today's, and here's my original one. And of course, our super duper cute cards. And that's today's Stampin' Duo. Head over to my blog. I have pictures for you and dimensions are all there. And I ask that you come back next week and join me in my stamp studio for some more duo projects. Have a great week, everyone.